Regarding the part where the doctor is asking about the calculated column here means that I can now create a column and get something called the minimum and maximum. So I can create a calculated column. What does that mean? It means I want to get the average when I select an average column. It will create a column for me and give me the average grade of the student. For instance, with 2 tests and 2 assignments, I have 4 items. In these columns, each student has a grade and it calculates the average, minimum, or maximum. It provides the minimum or maximum per student. This is called a calculated column, meaning the system does it automatically. Selecting the average column performs its task. It displays average grades for all students. It will create a column like that, called the average column. Dr. Mohammed asks if we can format the report. Formatting means organizing grades into columns. Let's see here. For each student, for example, if I have 5 things, it will give me the minimum in the 5 or the maximum, depending on what I choose. This is called a calculated column, meaning the system does it automatically. As soon as you select the average column, it will perform the task of that column, which is the average column. It will give the average grades of the student and display it in a column for all the students. It will create a column like that, called the average column. Dr. Mohammed is asking if we can format and organize the report page. Formatting and organizing means the grades in the form of columns, which is here creating a report. Let's see here. No, it appears in the way you see it. The columns I selected here, they appear in the way you see in the report, which is this format. Dr. Mohammed is asking if we can format and organize the report page. Formatting and organizing means having the grades in the form of columns, which is about creating a report. Let's take a look here. No, it appears in the way you see it. Let's look at the columns. I selected the columns here, and they appear in the way you see them in the report, which is this format. Each student has one page that contains all the details, but regarding the columns you are asking about, you can retrieve them in another way. No, it appears in the way you see it. Let's look at the columns. I selected the columns here, and they appear in the way you see them in the report, which is this format. Each student has one page that contains all the details. But regarding the columns you are asking about, you can retrieve them in another way. This format means that each student has one page that contains all the details. But regarding the columns you are asking about, you can retrieve them in another way. In another way, the other way, what is it? The other way is not from here, not from creating reports. Don't retrieve it. Something called offline work, and you will get something called download. For offline work, you will select download. You will get a complete Excel file, an Excel file in the format you need, which includes the students, the columns, and the grades, all in an Excel file. Yes, it will be an Excel file, and then you will click download. You will specify here if you need the entire grading center or just a specific column. Of course, what matters to me is the entire grading center. Then you go to send and click on send. It will open up, and then you will click download after sending. The download will open for you and will be saved in your downloads folder on your laptop, or what is called downloads. This file you see here, this is the file you will open. The grading center matters. Go to send and click send. It opens, then click download. The download saves in your downloads folder. Open this file to start working. You'll see it in the expected format. Student names and columns for tests, assignments, and grades are here. Excel is better to work with. The download will open and save in your downloads folder. This is the file you will open to start working. It will appear in the expected format with student names and columns for tests, assignments, and grades. In Excel, it's better for reports. Many work in reporting, so enhance your Excel skills. Without Excel experience, you might struggle. With one step in Excel, you can achieve what might otherwise take a long time. You will see it in the way you see here. The names of the students are here, and each of these columns represents the tests, assignments, and their grades. This part, yes, in Excel, it is better for you to work with Excel, especially in the area of reports. Most of you work in the area of reports. So I advise you to enhance your Excel skills. Because I don't have experience in Excel, I struggle. I can accomplish what someone else takes 5 or 10 hours to do in just a minute or even a second. I will show you an example. This file contains the names of the students or your names. Let's assume this column has 1,000 names. Especially in the area of reports, many work in the reporting section. Please enhance your Excel skills. Why? Because if I'm working and don't have some experience in Excel, it can be hard. With just one step in Excel, I can accomplish what someone else might take 5 or 10 hours to do in just a minute or even a second. Let me give an example. Here's an Excel file opened earlier. This file contains the names of the students or your names, for example. Let's assume this column has 1,000 names, a large number, maybe 2,000. If I want to get just the first name from this column, look here. I have the full name, and then it says I need to write the column for just the first name. name and the column for just the last name. For example, you would come here and write what 5 hours or 10 hours I can accomplish in just 1 minute or even 1 second. For example, we're not going to explain Excel, but let me give you an example. This is an Excel file I opened before the training. This file contains the names of the students or your names, for example. Let's assume this column has 1,000 names, which is, of course, a large number. If there are 2,000, that's a big number too. And I want to get just the first name from this column. Look here, I have the full name, and then it says I need to write a column for just the first name and a column for just the last name. For example, you would come here and write what? Let's say, for instance, you write Ibrahim. You would have to write all 1,000 names or 500 names, which is quite tedious. So Excel solves this for you. You just click on the cell where you wrote the first name and you take that first name and write it here. In 2000, there are large numbers, and I want this column, I want to get just the first name. Look here, I have the full name, and then it says I need to write a column for just the first name and a column for just the last name. For example, you would come here and write what? If you want to do this, I wrote Ibrahim here. You need to write all 1,000 names or 500 names. Excel solves this. You just click on the cell where you wrote the first name and write it here. Then you would stand on it and go to a menu called Data. You would then go to something called Flash Fill. What does it do? It will take the first name from each of the names here and place it in the column. So we click on Flash Fill. See what happened. What did it do? It brought Ibrahim from your entry. It brought names like Dr. Johara. You need to make sure the names are formatted correctly first. This is something that helps you a lot. You would stand on it and go to a menu called Data. Then you would go to something called Flash Fill. It will take the first name from each of the names here and place it in the column. It brought Ibrahim from your entry. It brought the names. You need to make sure the names are formatted correctly first. I'm giving you an example. If you have good skills in Excel, it will open up a lot for you. Look, what happened? What did he do? If your presence was focused on me, what would he have done? Did he bring Ibrahim? Or Ibrahim? Did he bring Asma? Or did Asma come here? For example, Dr. Al-Jawhara. For example, the doctor. What did the doctor write here? First, your presence must have fixed the names first. What are the names? Well, what is this? Something that will help you a lot. The idea is I'll give an example, not just explaining Excel. If you have Excel skills, it opens many reporting opportunities. Give an example in this selection area as the Blackboard generates reports in Excel, allowing comfortable and quick work. When students submit assignments, they receive a confirmation number verifying submission. Some of his reports are in an Excel file, and you can find it much easier to work with Excel and get your tasks done in a very short time. Now, while we are working in the grading center, if you remember with me, when the student submits the assignment, we said that the student has something called a confirmation number that confirms they submitted the assignment. So the system gives them a number. So where do I get this number from? Do you see it in the reports? There's something called submissions of sent work. The submitted work, and there are receipts, like a receipt. Like a receipt, we tell the student, here is the receipt. You submitted the assignment. You click on submissions of sent work and start looking. It will show us now. The username contains the transition. Okay. It didn't show me anything here. Let's select is not empty, so it shows everything. I mean, if someone has submitted something, you see what happened here? It showed me student 7, which is the student who submitted and sent an assignment. In group 2's assignments, there was an assignment that was a Word file named assignment 1, and it had a certain size. It also shows you the date. It was submitted and the confirmation number that the student received when they submitted the assignment. He received a confirmation number. The student, of course, needs to take what, just make sure to zoom in well. Here it is. The student also received this confirmation number when they submitted. So the student must keep this number, so they can also inform the administration. This is called submissions of sent work. Whether it's here, for example, the student submitted a draft assignment, or an assignment or a task, or this assignment submitted. Okay, let's look here. There's something called show all. So you can open all the submitted work All the assignments and tasks are available. Just like you see here with the dates, you can also check the date. The student mentioned a specific date, and we can look at that date. Regarding the submissions of sent work, I think that should be enough for the grading center, and we can move on.